Your 2025 Boston Red Sox, who we had all whipped ourselves into a frenzy and lather over with the hype and the excitement of Bregmania, Jarren Duran continuing his MVP surge and journey, Walker Buehler, Garrett Crochet coming to town, Aroldis Chapman, the kids, the rookies. So many reasons to get fired up for your Red Sox, who now sit at 8-9, losers of the weekend, losers of the series, losers of 2 out of 3 against the Pale Hose, the White Sox in Chicago, the worst team in the history of baseball last year, a team that was looking at that 41 and 121 record and saying, you know what? I think there's a way we could top that. I think we could even be worser. We can be better at being worse.
Let's have everyone get surgery.
Everybody got surgery.
That's how the White Sox entered the season. Why don't you guys take some time to take care of yourselves? Go get Tommy John.
Honest to God, it was like a chicken pox party, or everyone like meeting up and deciding to get pregnant at the same time. They had a Tommy John party.
What is your social life?
Yeah. Honest to God, what a bizarre team, and what an awful weekend of baseball. I was at a show in Cape Cod Friday night. Shout out Red Nun, Dennisport, great times.
Brag.
And that's okay. I'd even go further. I was performing Friday night there. It was even better.
Dang. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. And I didn't have to worry about anybody at this popular sports pub where there was a stand-up comedy show, Mego, looking at the TV screens, because I noticed that the people in the back that had their eyes on the Celtics game at first and then the Red Sox game all got real interested in the show about halfway through the game. And I was like, oh, man, the Sox must be whooping up on them. The show ends. I walk to the back of the bar, and I look up, and it's like an 11-1, and I just yelled out, what the f-? And I finished the F word out loud, and people were just like, this team sucks. This team they scored 6 runs over the weekend, Mego. 1 and then 2 and then 3. Great job, guys. You went up a run per day. You scored an average of 2 runs against the worst pitching staff and the worst team in baseball, and you lead Major League Baseball in strikeouts and errors. And yet somehow, as Dan Ball pointed out on our pre-show meeting, the Red Sox are still only 1 win out from being tied for the most wins in the American League. I mean, the American League on the whole is wholly disappointing, but the Red Sox should be running away with the American League at this point, not like apologetically trying to keep up with it.
I was listening to the midday guys, Jones and Keefe, and I thought they did an excellent job of just asking the question, where do you look now? Because we've been so conditioned, and rightfully so, over the last couple of years to look at the payroll, to look at ownership, and say they're just not even invested. They're not even trying before spring training to put together a major league roster. Right. And now you look at it, and they have spent the money, and they do have the pieces. And so are you just chalking that up to having a freezing cold series at Fenway where then the bats also went freezing cold, and now you're rebounding from that? Because it's really tough to justify what you had to watch Friday and Saturday against the White Sox. It's really tough to look at the manager who they just re-signed, and I think it was a good move, but all the money that they're spending on the payroll, on these pieces, bringing young guys up, having so much talent. It's early in the season, but looking at where you're leading in strikeouts and errors and saying this just looks way sloppier than this group of guys should. So where do you look to blame for that? I feel like you had to spread it around a little bit, but for the first time, I'm sitting here saying we can't really turn our nose up at ownership. They actually did, for the most part, what they were supposed to do. Now it's on these guys to figure it out by the time you get to May or June.
So Garrett Crochet is 3-1 since acquiring him. He got a video tribute from the White Sox on Friday night, and then he responded by almost throwing a perfect game, or at least a no-hitter on Sunday, getting into the 8th inning before giving up his first hit. He gets pulled after 96 pitches. They're 3-1, like I said, in those games. Otherwise, they're 5-8 in games Garrett Crochet doesn't start. That's terrible. It's really, really terrible. The pitching has not been the problem by and large. Very few pitchers have come in and gotten their lunch handed to them, as Eck would say. Very few guys have gotten bombed and shellacked. The hitting has just been ghastly. I mean, we're 17 games in. One more game means we are exactly 1/9 of the way through the season. So, again, still on the smaller side of sample sizes. But the fact that they're booting the ball all over the infield, nobody can field for love, sex, or money. It's like they were all issued ceramic frying pans and not actual baseball gloves. Bregman has made a bunch. probably more than I think most of us expected he would make all year. Is there something they're teaching them? Is there some weird jinx or malaise or
Is
something?
it Driveline?
I don't know, but yeah, exact Driveline. My God,
It's Driveline. That's the new evil. You haven't heard? Everything's Driveline's fault.
everything's Driveline now. It's all about the new. That's the latest new evil, Driveline. There are so many different evils, so many different terms in baseball I can't stand, and now Driveline is just the latest in a long series of them. I can't figure out. I can't figure out what it is. Cora wants a hyper athletic team. He wants to be able to play small ball. You got guys regularly swinging out of their socks. He keeps saying they're swinging at strikes, but they miss them all the time. There's it's not just one little something you can put your finger on, Mego. It's like a pile, a litany of things going wrong with the Red Sox right now. So that is a great question they asked on the midday show. Where do you go next for a fix? And do you try to fix all of it at once, or do you just try to start small and go baby steps?
I think you just have to do baby steps. What else are you gonna? You can't fix it all at once. And I don't think, I still have high hopes for this team. I don't think that people who are looking at this team and seeing 90 plus wins need to adjust those expectations. You don't need to adjust your expectations in April. Get out of here with that. But I do think that you look a little sideways at the start. And as you said last week, Fitzy, these games matter as much as the games in August do. Maybe you haven't figured out as much, but they matter towards your standings. So, yeah, there's work to be done.
617-779-7937. Mego's right. They all count. And if you miss the playoffs, if you're in a wild card battle, if you can't win the AL East because you finish a game or two behind the Yankees, who are hardly covering themselves in glory in the post-torpedo bat era, well, you may be pointing back to the fact that you couldn't sweep the Sox. Foolish me. Shame on me for saying this should be a get-right trip, and between the Rays and the White Sox, you should lose one, maybe two games tops. You already lost those games, so now you can't afford to go down to unsold-out Steinbrenner Field and not, run roughshod against the Rays. But I don't know where I'd get the confidence from that.